Yeah, I have no objection. Shri Rajeev Chandrasekhar.
Sir, thank you, sir. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I speak in support of this budget. Sir, as you know, this is the NDA government's first full year budget, and it is my opinion that this budget is exactly what the doctor has ordered. So that the government has been operating in the backdrop of years of profligacy and malgovernance has made things even more challenging. Over the last few years, the government has had its investment and spending capacity reduced significantly, and years of scams and corruptions have caused even the bravest of investors to run for the exit door. So my colleagues Pawan Verma and P. Rajeev were talking at length about the need to spend more. I think I must bring it to their attention that the first rule of prudent living is to spend within your means. The government is spending what it can, and it cannot spend more because of the fiscal mess it has inherited. And so glib talk about fiscal deficit financing is all very good, but it ignores the very fact that it creates serious economic distortions, expensive to fix, and leaves debt behind for future generations to repay. So deficit financing is fine, sir, in an Excel spreadsheet, but in the real world, it is moving the liability to future generations. Sir, over the last 9 months, the economy has slowly and steadily been brought back from the precipice that the UPA left it in. This budget, therefore, is a catalyst, and I believe a first step to a 10% growth economy. Of this, sir, I have no doubt. It addresses the twin tasks of fiscal consolidation and expenditure rationalization of the government. And secondly, and most importantly, it addresses the main task of reviving and restarting a deep and sustainable investment cycle. Sir, I can speak a lot about these issues, and I can speak about the 3 lakh crores in the recent auctions, but I want to address head-on the propaganda in some quarters that this budget doesn't address the poor by talking about 3 specific issues. Sir, let's talk about delivering benefits for the poor. This budget talks specifically about restructuring how benefits are delivered to the poor using the triumvirate of Jan Dhan Yojana, Aadhaar and mobile. This is a very, very important reform aimed at benefiting only the poor. It puts money directly in their hands directly in the hands of those who deserve it. It removes corruption, removes leakage and middlemen from the welfare state model, something that has been the curse of all government spending programs for several decades. Sir, this is a significant and real benefit for the poor rather than simply announcing big numbers and grandiose schemes that go nowhere. So the second aspect of the budget I wish to highlight is that of the Mudra Bank, an initiative that I believe, sir, is transformational because it takes over 10 crores and reportedly up to 26 crore people in small and self-employed activities and gives them access to capital for the first time since independence. Sir, this informal sector is invisible to all, invisible to the financial sector, but visible to all. This informal sector employs 80% of the jobs in the non-agricultural sector. It accounts for 50% of our GDP, and it is disgraceful that all these years they were neither addressed by policy action nor the banking system. Only 4% of this informal sector have access to organized credit, and loans above 50,000 rupees are almost impossible, forcing them into the hands of moneylenders. So formalizing the informal sector, which is the objective of this budget, targets a large number of Indians at the bottom of the economic pyramid and empowers them. Sir, I predict that this Mudra initiative, if executed well, can add 15 to 20% to our growth rates. This is a good example of how government policy can encourage enterprise and entrepreneurship even at the bottom of the economic pyramid, sir. Sir, the third point, the architecture of social security consisting of insurance and pensioning for the poor. For a country like ours, which a third of our population lives in destitution and poverty, sir, a social security net is a must. This budget builds on the success of the JDY to further build out a social security system. So permanent solutions like this are far more real and transformational for the poor than slogans and rhetoric. This government's approach to poverty, poor and the informal sector are fresh and new. These will ensure permanent changes to the lives of the poor over time. Sir, to those in the opposition who see the poor of India as simply another fancily named spending program, this new approach of the government will seem difficult to understand. I can't therefore fault them. It was simply because these ideas in this budget are a departure from the tired, dreary habits of the past.
Okay, conclude.
Sir, let me end with 3 quick suggestions for the Finance Minister, sir. Sir, I am those who support the recent focus on corporate malfeasance, but I have to add my voice to the growing group concerned about the implications of the legislations on black money. Sir, black money is a scourge and has corroded our democracy and politics. On eliminating it, there are no two views. But sir, we must not throw the baby out with the bathwater. We must be careful that corporate and investment sentiment are not scared off by a new kind of extortion, Raj. I trust the FM will be careful about how he evolves this, balancing both interests. So I have 2 more points. Second, sir, is the concern I have about the government's resource mobilization plans. This is currently depending almost completely on direct and indirect tax revenue growth, which in turn depends on corporate revival. So we must create more headroom for boosting government revenues to enable spending on infrastructure, capital assets, and absorb any external shock. So I'll just finish, sir. So these points I have laid out make this a big budget, not big in terms of rhetoric, poetry and drama, but in terms of substance. For many years, sir, the discourse in Delhi has been dominated by talk of vision and dream teams. The railway budget and union budget ushered in a fresh new concept of substantive reforms. This is a pro-poor, pro-investment, pro-growth, pro-reform and anti-corruption budget, sir.
Thank you very
I reiterate my